Welcome to another story made by Oracle 1. Daniel Mercer had always been a man of routine. Every morning at 7 o'clock sharp, he brewed a cup of black coffee in his modest kitchen, settled into his worn leather chair by the window, and reviewed the day's news. He worked as a software engineer in downtown Chicago, living a quiet, unassuming life. His friends described him as dependable, unremarkable, and grounded. A man content with the predictability the world had to offer. Yet, beneath his calm exterior, Daniel harbored a subtle restlessness, a silent yearning for something compelling to break the monotony. That yearning made the strange events that began on a drizzly Monday morning all the more unsettling. The first sign that something was terribly wrong appeared in the form of a letter. It arrived at his office desk, addressed simply, Daniel Mercer, but unsigned. The envelope was crisp, the paper a quality heavier than standard stationery, stark white with a faint watermark that resembled a folded origami bird. Inside was a single sheet inscribed with an ink so dark it almost absorbed the light. Daniel Mercer, you have an imposter. He is walking in your shoes, speaking your words, yet causing chaos behind your back. Find him before he erases you. Daniel blinked, glanced around to see if any colleagues were watching, then pocketed the note. At first, he dismissed it as some elaborate prank. That was, however, until the police came to his apartment 2 days later. Mr. Mercer? Detective Helen Armitage's voice was calm, but there was an undercurrent of urgency. We need you to come to the station for questioning. Confused, Daniel agreed and soon found himself seated under harsh fluorescent lights, watching as photographs of a man who looked exactly like him appeared on the table. He was wearing a black leather jacket, smirking after snatching a purse from a terrified woman, captured by street security cameras. That man, Helen said, is our prime suspect in a series of armed robberies across the city for the past 2 weeks. Witnesses swear it's you, but it can't be. Daniel shook his head vehemently. I have no idea who that is. That isn't me. But you're saying that's not you? Yes, that's impossible. I haven't left my apartment during those times. Helen's gaze shifted. Are you sure about that? Because the robberies took place late at night, and we have evidence placing your involvement. Daniel's life twisted into chaos from that moment on. Despite presenting alibis that checked out, news outlets began circulating images of the doppelgänger, calling him the Mercer Bandit, attaching Daniel's name to crimes he had never committed. His co-workers whispered behind his back. His landlord threatened eviction after a neighbor reported shouting between Daniel and him. Paranoia clung like a suffocating fog. Determined to stop the destruction of his reputation, Daniel began his own investigation. He reviewed security footage, cross-referenced times, and tracked locations attempting to find a pattern or clue that would expose the man who'd stolen not just his identity, but his very existence. And then, a chilling detail emerged. Every crime scene bore something more than just the robberies. There was a calling card, a simple black origami bird left deliberately at every location. An unsettling realization gripped him. The same paper and symbol from the anonymous letter had appeared in the physical world, tied to his doppelganger's crimes. Daniel decided he needed help and turned to an old college friend and private investigator, Lena Griffin. Lena was known for solving cases that made even the police scratch their heads. A brilliant mind with an instinctive grasp of the human psyche. When Daniel showed Lena the letter and the origami bird photos, her eyes narrowed in focus. Someone's sending messages, she said thoughtfully, and they want you to find this copycat, or, perhaps, someone else entirely. They devised a plan. If the doppelganger was leaving those distinct origami birds, perhaps Daniel could use them as bait. He contacted the city's newspapers anonymously, using a burner phone, and published a cryptic message, "To whoever walks in Daniel Mercer's shadow." Meet me at the pier by Lake Michigan at midnight. Reveal yourself or disappear. As that night arrived, the air hung heavy with tension. The city's skyline reflected against the dark waters, whispering secrets in the wind. Daniel sat alone on a bench, staring out into the lake, the origami birds folded neatly in his pocket. Minutes past midnight felt like hours. Then he heard footsteps, steady and sure against the concrete. Turning, he met a gaze that mirrored his own, same sharp brown eyes, same tousled dark hair, same lean frame. Yet the man wore a smirk that was all menace and mischief. I was wondering when you'd figure it out, the man said smoothly. You and we're more connected than you think, Daniel. Daniel felt every muscle tense. Who are you? What do you want? The stranger's smile curled wider. I'm the real Daniel Mercer. The words hit like a punch, knocking Daniel's breath away. Enough lies, Daniel said, voice trembling. Who are you really? The doppelganger laughed, a low, bitter sound. Let's just say I'm the shadow you never noticed following you around. You think you're me, but I was born first, in the shadows. Then he reached into his coat pocket and flicked an origami bird onto the ground near Daniel's feet. As Daniel stooped to pick it up, a sharp crack split the air. A gunshot echoed from down the pier. Lena leapt out from behind a stack of crates, gun trained on the doppelganger. Freeze! The double raised his hands slowly, eyes gleaming with amusement, unfazed by the weapon. You invited me here, he said, voice cool. I came. Then suddenly, he dashed, moving with an agility Daniel had never seen, weaving past old barrels and into the shadows. Lena pursued, but the figure tangled with the fog and disappeared. What the hell was that? Daniel whispered. Lena holstered her gun. This guy knows us. Or at least knows you very well. How did he get the same face? Daniel's mind spun. Over the next days, Daniel plunged deeper into research of doppelgangers, urban legends, and bizarre biological anomalies. Lena's contacts helped uncover a more sinister possibility. A secret government experiment that took place years ago, a project called Replica. The project had aimed to create perfect clones enhanced with augmented memories, with the goal of replacing individuals for espionage and infiltration. The idea was abandoned and hidden from public knowledge after multiple failures and ethical objections. Could this doppelganger be one of those failed replicas? One evening, Lena brought Daniel a file she acquired from a rogue source, something the government wanted to stay buried. The file detailed a subject named R23, created from the DNA of Daniel Mercer, DNA snatched without his knowledge in a medical incident years prior when Daniel was hospitalized. The dossier described behavioral inconsistencies, violent tendencies, and eventual loss of control, with containment protocols failed when the subject escaped. Daniel stared in disbelief. The government had fabricated a copy of him, a synthetic twin with no real soul, wandering free and committing crimes. I need to find this thing, Daniel said grimly. Be careful, Lena warned. Whoever he is, he's dangerous. Daniel arranged to be in contact with anyone the doppelganger contacted. Soon a pattern emerged. The crimes were coordinated in a way that led to a place, an abandoned warehouse on the city's edge, near an old biotech facility long shut down. With a mixture of fear and resolve, Daniel and Lena plotted to explore the labyrinthine structure. Inside, darkness swallowed them. Broken machinery, shattered glass, and eerie silence surrounded their every step. Yet signs of recent activity flickered. Discarded food wrappers, footprints, and more black origami birds scattered on the floor like a twisted breadcrumb trail. At last, in the deepest recess of the warehouse, they found the doppelganger, seated cross-legged amid a nest of papers, diagrams, and equipment. You came, he said calmly, as if expecting them. Daniel took a cautious step forward. Why are you doing this? Why ruin my life? Who put you up to it? The double's face shifted, softer moments flickering through the ominous mask. I don't want to share your life. I want what life you have, except without the chains of your morals, your decisions, your dull, constrained existence. I am free in ways you never allowed yourself to be. Lena raised her voice. You're hurting innocent people, destroying lives. He shrugged. To exist is to take. Your life was never truly yours, Daniel. You're just a man with no idea who you are. I'm the cutting edge. A new evolution. Daniel's heart pounded. This isn't evolution. It's destruction. Suddenly, the power flickered and went out, plunging the room into pitch black. A scuffle erupted in the darkness as Daniel and Lena stumbled, the doppelganger's footsteps retreating. Scrambling after the sound, Daniel's hand brushed something cold and metallic. He found a pistol. A shot rang out. When the lights flickered back on moments later, Lena was crouched over, holding Daniel's arm. He's gone, she said grimly. Daniel sank to his knees, the truth settling cold in his gut. The doppelganger wasn't just a shadow. He was a living nightmare stalking him, a mirror fractured but dangerously real. What was worse was knowing the original Daniel Mercer might be a lie itself, a synthetic copy chasing his own origin in the dark. Over the next weeks, Daniel's life teetered between fragments of normalcy and creeping dread. Friends disappeared, his apartment was bugged, and phantom sightings of the doppelganger flickered before his eyes like a ghost. Then, one rainy evening, Daniel's phone buzzed. A text appeared from an unknown number. Why chase me when we can be one? Meet me at the rooftop of the old biotech lab. Midnight. Haunted curiosity compelled him to go. The rooftop was slick with rain, the city stretching endlessly below like a sea of lights. Daniel heard a familiar voice behind him. I only want to be whole, said the doppelganger from the shadows. Daniel turned slowly. What do you mean? I'm the split, the fractured half cast into the night, the man said, stepping forward. But together, we are complete. Daniel's mind reeled. You want me to join you? He nodded solemnly. You don't have to run. We can end this nightmare. Daniel weighed the options in a heart-stopping moment. Surrender his identity entirely or fight and risk losing both their lives. The doppelganger reached out. Choose. In a flash, Daniel's instincts took over. He dodged the hand, sprinting toward the edge of the roof. But the chase was short-lived. Police sirens wailed below, blue and red illuminating the night sky. Lena appeared at the rooftop entrance, gun drawn. You're under arrest, she said firmly. It's over. The doppelganger laughed with a strange mixture of sorrow and joy. You'll never suppress me. I am you, alive because you exist. I am the reflection of what you deny. Officers swarmed, and the doppelganger was cuffed, resistance fading with a defeated sigh. In the weeks that followed, the police confirmed that the man in custody was the subject of a classified synthetic replication project. In a strange twist, DNA tests proved he was genetically identical to Daniel Mercer but had dangerous neurological alterations causing his erratic behavior. The government stepped in quietly, taking over custody of the Replica subject for further containment. Daniel found himself vacillating between relief and a deeper unease. He'd reclaimed his name and life, but the knowledge that he shared his identity with a man grown from science's dark experiments shadowed him. Every reflection reminded him of that fractured self, the monster created from a fragment of his existence. Lena stayed close, helping Daniel reconstruct what remained of his shattered world. One night, as Daniel looked into the mirror, he whispered, "Who am I really? The maker or the maid?" From the shadows behind him, a whisper returned, faint but unmistakable. Both. For more stories, like and subscribe.